There are a lot of self-proclaimed psychics out there who claim to have abilities ranging from telling the future to communicating with dead people. Often these people will charge a pretty considerable fee in exchange for their services. Although intriguing, it's pretty important to understand that a lot of money spent on psychics should really be for entertainment purposes only, seeing as most, if not all, are completely fraudulent. Here are just some of the many examples of psychics that were exposed. On a British television station, this man decided to test 3 mediums by bringing them to an abandoned chocolate factory to see if they would be able to channel the spirit of the former owner. There's a catch though. The guy running this got a parapsychologist to completely fabricate a backstory about the place that involved the fictitious owner, George Bull, having his legs run over by horses and subsequently dying. The host of the show printed the story on the chocolate factory pamphlets and put it on the factory's website. He also put a fake picture of the made-up George Bull in the factory. Of course, this was to see if the psychics would research the fake story before coming on the show. Most of the psychics got the story down pretty well.
And I got the name George.
George?
It was George, yeah.
So he may have got kicked by a horse. He went down. It was the horse that put him down in some way.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure about that.
There was only one psychic shown here that didn't do their research well enough and just relied on getting information from the host. This guy got the first name, George, but wasn't able to figure out the last name. Eventually, he was brought to the portrait of George Bull, which conveniently has a plaque with the name written on it. After looking at the portrait, he suddenly puts together his full name, George Bull.
George.
You getting a name coming through?
Do you know the initials of his second name?
Mm-hmm.
Would it be?
Yeah.
Would it Bull?
It was.
That's what I got.
At the end of it all, he told the psychics the story was totally made up and that George Bull does not exist.
Philip, can I tell you something?
Go on.
This history here is entirely made up. And that picture is just a random picture we found, and we stuck a little name tag on it that's made up. George Bull is an entirely made up name.
Okay.
Of course, the psychics just made up excuses for how they channeled the spirit of a man that didn't even exist.
When mediums link telepathically with the mind of spirit, we also link with your mind. So if you've got this information running through your mind, I could pick it up from you as well.
We told the whole story that we wrote.
My guy told me before I came here that I was going to be tested, and I said, fine, then we'll test one another.
I got someone to write that and then put that on the chocolate factory website.
So where did I get Bull from then?
Well, I think probably
That's what
from the
I
name
want,
plaque on it. But
I didn't see the name plaque. I can't see it because I need glasses.
yeah.
You've probably heard of faith healers before. If not, they are essentially people that claim to be able to heal people using prayer instead of medical treatment. One of the big faith healers is Peter Popoff. He would hold services where he would use the power of God to heal people. He would call out the names of people in the audience and be able to name what ailment they had, knowledge in which people assumed he got from God.
Alice, is it Gould? Alice Gould? Stand up, Alice. God is touching that thyroid condition right now.
There were even times in which he would know their address. After that, he would put on some theatrical act in which he would heal them from the ailment. This is where things get interesting. If you haven't heard of James Randi, then you should definitely look into some of the things he does. He investigates psychic claims to expose fraudulent psychics. He even used to have a challenge that offered $1 million to anyone who could show some type of proof of any paranormal claim. No one has ever won the challenge, and the challenge is no longer active since the funds are going to be used for something better. Anyway, James Randi ended up investigating Peter Popoff and discovered something pretty interesting. He brought a radio scanner to one of Popoff's events and was able to pick up a transmission from Popoff's wife through an earpiece. This is what he heard.
Hello, Petey. Can you hear me? If you can't, you're in trouble.
John, is it?
Dearie Johnson. She wants to get rid of the walker.
You want to get rid of this walker, sister?
The wife got this information through prayer cards filled out by people in the audience. God was definitely not involved here. The final example on this list is actually a bit sad, since this person wasn't intentionally a fraud. They truly believed in their ability. There's a man named Yanagi Ryukin who says he's an expert in the art of psychic fighting. This allows him to fight people without even touching them. Instead, he uses the power of chi. Take a look at an example of him fighting some of his students using psychic fighting. This may seem somewhat impressive, but one day, Ryukin made a $5,000 bet with an MMA fighter that he could defeat him using psychic power alone. This is a video of what happened during that fight. Ryukin is the one in black, and the MMA fighter is the one in white. Looks like Ryukin's abilities were not working so well when he was fighting someone who wasn't one of his students. Either the placebo effect can be really strong, or Ryukin's students were just pretending to be affected by the chi power. You may, at one point, encounter people who claim to be psychic, but before believing it to be true, you should probably make sure there's some pretty strong evidence for their claim. This isn't to say that psychics don't exist at all, but if they do, then they sure are difficult to find. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the flip side.